Well, good evening to you and your viewers. I think this is indicative of the close and productive working relationship between the United States and the Peshmerga. I think, the closeness and of this relationship has been, proven over the years, and I think demonstrated just yesterday. The KRG is one of the few places in Iraq where U.S. forces are safe. Baghdad is not doing a sufficient job of protecting American forces. Iranian-backed militia are targeting them. Americans are safe in the KRG, and we can work closely with the Peshmerga. And so I think it's been a productive relationship, and I see these weapons as indicative, really demonstrating the close level of ongoing cooperation between the United States and the Peshmerga. No, I think that this is probably a routine transfer that became available. There are a lot of threats that the KRG faces and are protected by the Peshmerga. Some of them are related to ISIS. Others are related periodically to the Iranian-backed militia. And then, of course, Iran routinely targets the KRG. As well as Turkey, although this is sort of a more one-sided endeavor with Turkey hitting routinely in the KRG. I think this is not about the regional tension. This is about helping our partners to protect themselves from more local threats. Well, I think that's part of the plan. Of course, much of that depends on whether the United States has a good working relationship with Baghdad. The arms, as you know, that we provide to the Peshmerga go through Baghdad as the government, even if there are federal prerogatives for the Kurdish component. But I think that this is necessary to ensure the continued defeat and containment of ISIS. But this is going to be a persistent problem. These militants are not totally defeated. They no longer control huge swaths of territory, but they do have pockets of support and areas which they control at night, in particular in Syria, but oftentimes, they're also present in pockets in Iraq as well. And if Peshmerga or other forces in Iraq are not vigilant or not constantly pursuing these cells, then they will multiply like a cancer. Well, I think that there is clearly a difference between Baghdad and the KRG. Like, once again, our forces are not targeted by elements of the Iraqi military, the Hashid, in the KRG. We are protected by the KRG. We are not protected in the rest of Iraq, whether in Ain al-Assad or elsewhere. The Iraqi government in Baghdad and the coordination framework, but also the previous government, was not fulfilling its Geneva obligations to protect diplomatic facilities even. There is, I think, a difference in how Congress and successive U.S. administrations see the KRG. They see them as a partner and a reliable partner. Even in Baghdad, which publicly, under Iranian pressure, are trying to get the United States and the coalition to withdraw, many say they want us to remain, but it's not an argument that they're making publicly. We play a useful role in the enduring defeat of ISIS, but we left once, if we leave again, I think it's going to be up to Baghdad's other leading partner, which is Tehran, to ensure the enduring defeat of ISIS. I don't think that's a very bright future for Iraq personally, to be dominated by Iran. Well, I'd written a few months back that I thought that we should lower the number of troops in Iraq because, as we've seen, the government of Iraq is not protecting us. We are still in Iraq at the invitation of the government of Iraq. And if we are not protected and we are not robustly protecting ourselves and going out and proactively targeting Iranian-backed militia, then we are ourselves a target in Iraq. And so maybe we should lower the number of troops, have more residual force in the KRG, where we can do our work with the Peshmerga and do our work with the government. I'm sorry, with in Syria in the counter ISIS campaign. And I think that would be maybe more positive. But ultimately, we're probably going to downsize the number of troops just because it's not safe there. And if the government of Iraq isn't going to protect us, then we can't be there in the long term. Well, I think the United States has tried to encourage the reform of the Peshmerga. I know the minister of Peshmerga spoke recently or today about how they've made some financial reforms. But the primary reform that we're looking for, and the United States government has been trying to encourage, is the unification of the Peshmerga forces. They're still operating not as a united force under different commands. And the United States had at one point conditioned U.S. financial support to the Peshmerga on the unification. Regrettably, we haven't seen that yet, but there still is very strong, I think, congressional support. And so there's not any immediate concern about cuts in funding, but I think this is still something that inhibits or undermines the effectiveness of the force. Well, first of all, we're not leaving completely, but if we downsize our mission and our capabilities, then the Iraqis military will have to do the work themselves. And whether they have the capability to close the loop with close air support, the tactical arrangements, this is an open question. I think they, especially the counterterrorism forces, have improved dramatically in recent years, but we'll see how they do.